I'm not sure how often this is mentioned, but there's a special subgenre of video games on Steam which solely exists so that way people can show you how pretty something looks. Like, look at how pretty these assets are. Look at how well this will show off your new computer. Stuff like that. This game we're playing right now turns out to be one of those. Because the graphics are obscenely high resolution and have way too much detail, an obscene amount of detail that is absolutely unnecessary. But the game itself is lackluster. This is a casual speedrun let's play of the game where I'm going to not fire a single shot and instead run through all 9 levels in, I think, less than 9 minutes. Now, the important thing here I want to stress is not that the game is made from pre-made assets or that the assets are poorly placed, even though that is accurate. The important thing here is that the game is not good. Sure, the ridiculous amount of lighting effects, absurd detail in the scenery, and all these physics make it so hard to run the game that even my computer struggles immensely on some levels. And the developer couldn't even make a proper trailer because his computer was stuttering trying to run the game. But making the game high detail seemed to be the priority, regardless of any amount of polish involved, of which there is none. But the actual gameplay itself is as follows. We go through 9 linear levels trying to make our way to the exit, and after the 9th level we're booted back to the main screen. Apparently there is a story of sorts, but it is never told in the game anywhere. So I'm sure we're not missing much. The game structure is like a fairly standard arena shooter, but generally all of the enemies are in front of you and none spawn behind you. We have a few weapons, we have 2 pistols, we have a rifle, and we have a shotgun. The rifle is really the only one that will ever hit anything consistently, but we're never going to fire a single shot, so that's unnecessary. A fun little tidbit of information, though, if you die and respawn, you can no longer switch your weapon, so I hope whatever weapon you died with is the one you'd like to use. Look at these assets just floating around. I did think, in spite of the trailer for this game not looking super good, we're going to have to roll here. That's the only time we're going to have to roll in the game is to get over that turret. I thought that in spite of the trailer for this game not looking so good, it might be alright because all of the reviews were positive, 100% positive reviews. I wish I could say something about the game design, but it's so hard because even though there is shooting and you can shoot if you want to, it's more dangerous than running past everything. You have a greater chance of dying if you actually stand still and shoot the bad guys. But if you did stand still and shoot the bad guys, I could tell you that this game is in desperate need of some sensitivity adjustment options. The only options in the menu are options for resolution. You cannot adjust the mouse sensitivity at all. I mean, part of me looks at these level designs and the way these assets are placed, and I'm like, oh yeah, this seems like a map I would make in a map creator thingy when I was a little kid or something. So, it's not like I don't sympathize. I see that, he thought it would be cute to place these assets in certain ways in certain places, and he had ideas of how the enemy design would work and where the enemies would go to be the most challenging. But it's obvious he didn't really test it to any meaningful degree. And I'm sure there are computers that can run this game better than mine. I mean, mine's doing admirably considering all the garbage in the levels right now, but there's one particular snow level that we'll see toward the end, and let's just say I'm not surprised that level is nowhere in the trailer. I want to clarify this because I feel the need to clarify this every time I play something bad. I don't like when games are bad. It's not a fun time for me. It's sad, because I want everything I play to be good or enjoyable. I wish this was good and enjoyable. I would appreciate that very much. And when I started the game up, I did spend a good, 20 minutes trying to play the game properly. Trying to play the game in a way that, someone might if they assumed the game had proper design, or was made well. I tried to play the game like an actual third-person shooter, is what I'm saying. But it didn't work out. I do not go into games expecting them to be bad, no matter how bad they look or if there's some sort of rampant glitchy issues. I don't expect them to be bad, and I don't want them to be bad. You know, some people would look at the animation and, you know, obviously, just from the animation itself, decide the game was unpolished and bad. I wouldn't do that. The game can still have value from a game design standpoint or an artistic standpoint or, you know, something. It doesn't, but it could. Just not in this particular instance. Based on the level design, I don't know if I feel comfortable calling the guy that published and developed this game cynical. Because the level design seems more, is juvenile? No, let's not say juvenile, that's too insulting. Amateurish? There's a kind of amateurish excitement to the level design. Like, the guy was excited to be able to make a game, and he had vague ideas of level and enemy placement. And he wanted to bring a game to life, but he didn't have the adequate tools or simply didn't want to spend the adequate time to polish it properly. Now, that doesn't change the fact that, cynical or not, this game does fit very well into the subgenre of games on Steam that are 3D games with pre-made assets that just look really pretty for the sake of looking really pretty, so people with high-end computers can look at how pretty the pretty graphics look on their high-end computers. And if you're into that, you know, that's fine. There are probably just better games you could be buying to do the same thing. I don't even have anything against games with pre-made assets, you know? Like, Freeze Me has a lot of pre-made assets in it, and I love Freeze Me. The fact that this game has pre-made assets, as I said, is not the issue. The asset placement is a minor issue, but that's also not the problem. The problem is that, as you're seeing, there's no substance to the gameplay whatsoever. And when you figure out there's no substance, you can finish it in 9 minutes. It could be a fun game to speedrun. I could see people wanting to speedrun something like this simply because you can run through the levels and the character's jump is so absurd. I wanted this game to be good, and I wanted this person to succeed. I still want this person to succeed because it seems they are still making video games. I apologize for the next level. It's going to get really, really choppy. You may not want to look at the screen. Alright, here we go. So this is the snow level I was referring to. And if you're not looking at the screen, good. If you are, I'm very sorry. But this is the issue with putting so many detailed graphics, effects, and physics in a game without any regard for how the average computer might run them. The average high-end computer, even. In spite of the frame rate, I kind of wish my bedroom was as cold as this place looks because, oh my god, it has been so hot lately. And it is 1:45 a.m., and it should not be this burning hot right now. Makes it so hard to record anything. Alright, we're approaching the end of the game. Is there anything I forgot to mention? The character has a roll that you can use to dodge fire that's unnecessary because you can just run past all of the fire. The character has a useless melee attack. Oh, we're back in a level that's not troublesome. So if you want to look at the screen again, you can now. Character has 2 useless melee attacks. He has a useless dodge roll. He has a useless duck. There's no reload that I can find anywhere. You have to reload simply by shooting until you run out of bullets. That's about it. The game's over now, pretty much. We just have to run up here and touch the portal. So that's... what is it? Cyborg Invasion... something Cyborg Invasion Shooter? And it's not so great.